Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh bringing it to you on a Tuesday. Today, what we're going to be talking about in our last segment of colleges and our last video, YouTube video of 2021, we're going to be talking about part 2 of the college fair. I think it's very important that we get, not only now that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks before, we talked about what is a college fair, where to find a college fair, virtual or in person, tail end of 2021 going to 2022. We're still in a pandemic, and many of these fairs are indeed virtual. But however you slice it, these are the people that make decisions on you, and they're very important that you really do your research and you try to find out as much information as you can about a college, because it is such an investment, both money and time. So that's why I think it really is important that we talk about what question to ask. Now, you don't need to ask all of these questions. I'm proposing 20 different questions. You don't have to ask them all, because you're probably going to have between 1 and 5 minutes with your college, with these college reps, because there are going to be so many kids and so many parents, and everybody wants to talk, and so you really have a very limited time. So it's important that you ask different questions to different schools and really get your ducks in a row so you can make a more informed decision about applying to a school. And like I said, I do tend to talk fast in these videos, because I do know that, and I say respectfully because I'm the same way, we have a small, limited attention span. So I want to make sure that you get as much information as you can in little time. So what kind of questions do you ask during a college fair, whether it be virtual or in person? And again, it doesn't matter, either one. You really need to prepare to be able to ask these valuable questions to these colleges. So the categories that I have for you here, we have here academic questions. The academic questions that you may want to ask as, does the school offer your intended major? If so, can you tell me about it? Because you may say, oh, this school is so popular and so well known and blah, blah, blah. And maybe indeed the case, but they may not offer what you are looking for. Let's say engineering, marine biology, law, whatever it may be. So you really need to ask that kind of questions. What programs is the college known for? Again, my local community college, Miami-Dade College, they do offer nursing, especially now at the tail end of the pandemic. Nursing really is a hot topic. So you may be, hey, this is something that I may want to save some money, stay at home, and do nursing at your local community college. Things that you should check out. Does the college offer any special programs like independent study, study abroad, etc.? Independent study may be very important to you. Let's say that you're taking care of ailing parents. You may have children of your own. You may say, well, I really need to have time to take care of my baby. And so you need to kind of say, hey, okay, independent study might be important. Or you might say, hey, you know what? I really haven't done much in my 18, 19, 20 years of life. I haven't seen much besides my community. I want to see what it's like in Italy or France or Ghana, Africa or Australia. That's where study abroad comes in, where you take your financial aid, where you take everything that pertains to that school, to your college, and you take it with you to a different country. And I think it's incredibly useful and valuable. How do first-year students choose their classes? Do first-year students say, hey, here's your classes, here, go? Or do you really get the opportunity to pick and choose what you need? Or you may need a leadership role, like an Oxford College out in Atlanta, that are really the first 2 years, and it is a 2-year school, that you really do have a leadership role, and those classes are really par excellence, that they're top notch, that will lead you into the bigger school of Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, as an example. Moving on into admissions questions. The school, you may want to check out, does the SAT or ACT, first of all, do they need it? Because they may have something called test optional. And I know I've mentioned it in the past, but test optional means that they do not require those SAT or ACT tests. Remember, SAT, that goes from 0 to 1600. I know we spent 3 videos actually on SAT. ACT, I'm going to try to tackle in 2022. Those two tests, they have these score ranges from 0 to 1600 in the SAT, and the ACT 0 to 36. And you want to know more or less what do the admitted students have? What are their scores? Because you don't want to apply to a school, but like, oh no, we can't accept you. And even though you have a 4.0, is SAT really that important? So that's really, really important. Are there any second question? Are there any specific requirements for certain programs at the university? The school may be like a B 3.0 average, but their engineering program, their civil engineering as an example, requires you to have a 4.0. Yeah, but you have to need to know that. That's why you need to ask specific questions. Do they need it? Or are you going into music? Do they require an audition? Do you go into some type of art? Do they require a portfolio? You going into dance? Do they require you to have a live or videoed a dance routine? These things are really important that you need to ask, because or else you won't be accepted to that program. Are there any majors that are more competitive to get admission than others? These majors can be, that's whatever it may be, like for let's say marine biology, since I'm a fish guy, is that something that they're gonna say, hey, you definitely going, that's a tough program, we get thousands of people and we only accept 50 people? Well, if you don't know that, you may say, wow, that sounds too much, and you may want to look at another school. You really need to kind of find out what is important, and you may want to also ask, hey, I'm undecided. Is that cool? I mean, does that work, or is that something that's just far-fetched for your school? What percentage of applicants are accepted to university? I remember this was a big issue with a school like Stanford University out in Northern California, because you may say, well, why? All their tens of thousands of applications, they take 10 to 15% of those people that apply. You may say, well, that's ridiculous. Well, that's Stanford. So you may want to say, hey, what do I really want to go through that struggle? You may, but again, you may not. Now, these are big questions here, the financial aid aspect here, because a local school like mine over here, Miami-Dade College, is about $400 a class, but a private school like a University of Miami, there may be as much as $5,000 a class. There's like, really that kind of difference? Yeah, really that difference. But no matter $400 or $5,000, college is expensive, and so it's a big investment. So you want to know what kind of financial aid programs do the college have, and do I have a fighting chance of trying to get money from the university in order to go to that school? What is the amount of average financial aid package awarded to the students? You may hear something like, oh, it's $20,000. You're like, whoa, that's phenomenal. And then you find out that the cost of the school is $60,000. You're like, wait, that's not that much. So you really need to know the cost of attending and what kind of average financial aid package do you get. Are there separate deadlines for admission and scholarship applications? Let's say your application is due on November 1st, but the scholarship application, because it could be such a competitive school, is for October 1st. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. Well, that's your job to find that out and ask that kind of questions during a college fair. Are there other fees and costs in addition to the tuition? Why is that important? Because let's say your cost of admission, let's say Florida International, which is a public state university right down the street from me, is about $7,000, $8,000 a year. But they say, hey, we also need another $1,000 for activity fees. Like, what? Well, I'm not going to use it. Doesn't matter. It's part of your tuition. And you may say, wait, what? It costs another $1,000 for books? What? I didn't know. These are additional costs that you need to know in order to get a better grasp of the schools that you are looking at. All right, here we go. Continuing on with our little video here is we have campus life and activities. You may, again, be a commuter like I was back home in New York City. You may commute back and forth on a bus, a train, or a car. But no matter what it may be, you may have something that you really want to do. Whether, I know it sounds silly, but I know when I used to visit schools, one of the big questions, which is crazy, but I know kids love to ask is, do you have a Harry Potter club? Do you have a Quidditch club? Do you ride around on brooms? And I was like, what? But to kids, that was really important. So you need to know you need to ask these kind of questions, as silly or as profound as it may seem, in order to fulfill what you want in your college experience. Again, what do students at the university usually do at their free time? Let's say me living in Miami, Florida, I want to go to Omaha, Nebraska, like at Creighton University, and I might say, "Hey, I really want to go here. This is wonderful." And what do the kids do, on the weekends? Oh, everybody tends to go home. Like what? And that is called a suitcase campus. You don't necessarily want a suitcase campus if you're traveling 1,000, 2,000 miles to go to a school. You need to see, well, what do they do? Do they have concerts? Do they have comedians come? Do they have things where you have where you go out to ball games? What is it that the kids do during the free time? And do many students live off campus? Colleges, kids love to live off campus. They feel so cool, which is fine, to live off campus and to off-campus housing. You need to know that, because if you're somebody like me who wouldn't want to do that, who would want to stay on campus, that may not necessarily be the school for you. What is it that kids are doing in terms of, do they live on the campus or they live off the campus? And there's such a thing called the freshman 15. The freshman 15 are the 15 pounds that you will gain on your first few year at college. And that is a real deal, because there is so much food available to you that you just tend to eat and eat and eat. And so you may want to go, oh my goodness, I have gained so much weight. And is there a sport complex or a fitness center in order to lose some of that weight and to get some of my strength back? And as we move along here, and this should be our last little thing here, you don't live in a poor choice of words. College is a vehicle for you to go on into your professional career. So that question, is there job placement to help graduates? That's really, really important, because you really want to know that the school is there to help you. That now that you have this degree, after 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long it takes you, what can I do with that degree? So that is a very important question to ask. What do most graduates do from the university? Do they go on to go get a master's? Do they go get a doctorate? Do they go on to go to work? Things like that are really important. And in terms of how big and helpful is the alumni network? Are they there to help you? Will they look out for your own? Will they say, hey, you're from Indiana University. Hey, you're from the University of Montana. We love you. This is what, because that is important. You need to be able to say, okay, these people are going to look out for me once I have graduated. And last but not least, I want to do a job or career after college. Is there something at the university that helped me pursue that? Is there something in particular that, hey, this is something that I want to do. I want to be a politician. I would like to be a senator. I would like to, whatever the case may be, I'd like to do some research on manatees. I know it sounds far-fetched, all the different things I'm throwing at you, but these are real questions that they say, hey, this is something that I want. This is something that is important to me. And so I think all these questions are really important post-college questions, because you want to say, hey, is my investment really worth it at your school? And that is a mouthful of 12 minutes and 38 seconds. So I hope that you enjoyed the little video. I try to keep them, like I say, short. I know sometimes I go on and on and on and on, but I try to keep it short because I know people's time is valuable. And I also do know that I really want you to get the information in a little time as possible, so you can take notes, get it, and find out what you need, and to do it and do it well. So thank you for joining me in this craziness in 2021, and I think it was the last 3-4 months in 2020. Please God, in 2022 and beyond, we'll continue these little videos. I hope you enjoy them, because I do. I'm very passionate about my fish. I'm very passionate about my college, and I'm very, very passionate about life. And I hope that you guys really get something out of these things, because they are valuable. I wish people would have done this when I was younger myself, because these are things, the tools of the trade that will get you, whether it be the ideal fish or whether it be the ideal college. Again, wishing you a happy holiday season, blessings from me to you, and we'll see you in 2022.